Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zakka Jacob. Nitish Kumar was sworn into office for the 8th time today and for the 2nd time along with the MAHAGATHBANDHAN and with Tejashwi Yadav as his Deputy Chief Minister. And straight after the swearing in, Nitish made a direct attack on Prime Minister Modi. He said that those who came in 2014 need to worry about whether they will be there beyond 2024. The larger question is, can a Nitish Kumar whose personal ambitions could not best Mr. Modi in 2013-14, what chance does he stand in 2024 when brand Modi is perhaps at its biggest? But first, the story of how Nitish Kumar, Mr. U-turn as he's being now called, has hitched his wagons yet again with the RJD and the MAHAGATHBANDHAN.
The MAHAGATHBANDHAN returns to Bihar. Nitish Kumar took oath as Chief Minister for a record 8th time. And Tejashwi Yadav is back as his deputy. Post the swearing-in ceremony, Nitish Kumar further fueled speculation about his political future with this open challenge to Prime Minister Modi.
हम किसी चीज के उम्मीदवार का हम कोई दावेदारी नहीं, लेकिन इतना तो जरूर कर दीजिए ना कि 14 में जो आए 24 तक के आगे रह पाएंगे कि नहीं रह पाएंगे.
It's been a dramatic 72 hours in Bihar, to say the least. Nitish Kumar suddenly ended his alliance with the BJP and formed the government with Tejashwi Yadav's RJD and 6 other parties.
यही आज की जरूरत है. बिहार की तो जरूरत थी ही, लेकिन ये देश की जरूरत है. और एक मैसेज पूरे देश में गया, ऑपोजिशन में गया कि लड़ाई लड़ना है तो बिहार से सीखो.
The BJP held a massive protest in Patna, accusing Nitish Kumar of betraying the people's mandate.
De facto चीफ मिनिस्टर तो तेजस्वी यादव है. नीतीश जी तो केवल जिसको टिटुलर हेड कहते हैं वो दिखावे के मुख्यमंत्री होंगे. ये सरकार 2025 पूरा नहीं करेगी.
Nitish Kumar is no stranger to switching alliance partners. Till 2013, he had allied with the BJP. But when it became clear that Narendra Modi would be the NDA's prime ministerial face, he walked out of the alliance and later went on to form the government with the RJD and Congress in 2015. Then in 2017, he accused Tejashwi Yadav and his brother Tej Pratap of corruption and quit the alliance and returned to the NDA.
मैं इस चेंज को बिहार में 10 साल पहले जो राजनीतिक अस्थिरता का दौर शुरू हुआ है 2012-13 से, उसी दिशा में एक नए कड़ी के तौर पर देखता हूं.
Now with Lok Sabha elections less than 2 years away, has Nitish Kumar revived the Grand Alliance to further his prime ministerial ambitions? If this alliance does well, Nitish could emerge as the nucleus of the opposition. But will he be accepted as the face of the opposition when other regional players like Mamata Banerjee and K. Chandrasekhar Rao are nursing their own hopes to be Prime Minister?
All right, before we go across to our guests and to our full panel this evening on Viewpoint, I want to first go across to Union Power Minister R.K. Singh, also Member of Parliament from Bihar. Mr. Singh, thank you very much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. First things first, after taking oath today for the 8th time, Mr. Nitish Kumar came out and spoke to reporters briefly where he said, जो लोग 14 में आए वो ये फिक्र करें कि वो 24 के बाद रहेंगे कि नहीं रहेंगे. Is he throwing his throwing his hat into the ring to be a potential challenger to Narendra Modi in 2024? I think the message clearly is that he wants to be projected as the face of the opposition against Mr. Modi.
These are statements made just to boost up the morale of his followers. The thing is that Mr. Nitish Kumar has lost a lot of ground, and I think whatever for any credibility he had left, that he's lost this time. Even during the campaigning, during the last elections, a type of anti-incumbency which could be seen wherever he went to campaign would have been noted by everybody. You see, Mr. Nitish Kumar has broken all records of Ayaram Gayaram. There have been many Ayarams, Gayarams in the history of Indian democracy, but in I haven't seen any Ayaram, Gayaram who would have jumped ship 5 times.
Okay.
4 4.5 or 5 times. He's a record holder now of flip-flop jumping from one ship to another, etc., etc. In fact, Lalu's party, Mr. RJD itself, used to call him Paltu Ram and Kursi Kumar.
No, but tell me this, Mr. Singh. The fact is that now he has jumped ship. He's back with the Mahagadbandhan. The question was asked about his prime ministerial ambition. Do you believe that he has done this move at the fag end of his political career with one eye on the satta in Delhi, as it were? And do you believe the actual controlling of the government and the running of the government in Bihar will be done by Tejashwi Yadav? It's only a matter of time before he is formally anointed the chief minister.
I don't know on what basis he thinks that he can be a PM aspirant, whether Mamata Banerjee will give up her claims to be a PM aspirant, or whether KCR will give up his claim to be a PM aspirant. This fellow is not even having a majority in his own state, and he doesn't have any presence outside the state. But people have misled him, and he's got misled. And it's only pure ambition. You see, there's absolutely no question of any principles behind it. There's no principles behind it. It's just pure personal ambition for clinging on to power, no matter what the compromise he has to make. This is the classic example of politics without principles. Imagine he's joined a party which he has abused over the past many decades as being the most corrupt party in the country, as being responsible for the poor, the area for the period of darkness in Bihar. He was responsible. He was also a party to the prosecution of Lalu Prasad with all his people. Party to the prosecution of Lalu Prasad in the Chara Ghotala scam. Against Tejashwi Yadav, he asked Tejashwi Yadav during his last stint to give her an explanation about the corruption charges against Tejashwi Yadav, and he kept saying that this is the most corrupt party going, and those people kept calling him as a turncoat. And now this person goes and joins this most corrupt party. What happened to all the charges against Tejashwi and Lalu?
All right, Rarki Singh, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. That's the Union Power Minister. Let me now open this up to our guests, our panel of guests who are joining us this evening on Viewpoint. Guru Prakash Paswan is BJP spokesperson. Dr. Onika Mehrotra, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Mayank Sinha, JDU leader. Chandrachud Singh, political analyst, joining us. Guru Prakash Paswan, the fact of the matter is twofold. As far as the state is concerned, Nitish Kumar wanted to avoid an Eknath Shinde-like situation in the state. He thought the BJP was using RCP Singh to do a Shinde operation in Bihar. Therefore, he wanted to fortify his position. He's done that with this coming back to the Mahagadbandhan. And secondly, what he said today, जो लोग 14 के बाद आए, वो ये ध्यान रखें कि 24 के बाद वो रहेंगे कि नहीं रहेंगे. So he's clearly saying or throwing his hat into the ring for his national ambitions.
Zakka, I don't think there is any value to what Nitish Kumar ji is now saying. Only, see, Zakka, this is the day and age of social media. Only yesterday I saw a video where Mr. Nitish Kumar on the floor of the Vidhan Sabha in Bihar said, "Mitti mein mil jayenge, in logon ke saath nahi jayenge." So many flip-flops. This person is now institutionalizing the entire idea of U-turn. But what we need to understand here, this is not only the breach of the trust of the people of Bihar, this is a huge breach of mandate. If you do a statistical analysis of what happened in 2020, and Zakka, we must understand that 2020 assembly election were remarkable in multiple ways. It was the first election between the pandemic and not only in the country, globally, I think election of such scale and magnitude, it was sort of a commentary on the performance of the government. In that election, the highest strike rate, BJP contested 110, we won 74. JDU contested 110, they won 43. RJD contested more than 135, they won 4 more than us. So the point is this is a clear-cut case of betrayal of mandate. But we are not surprised. If you look at the track record of Mr. Nitish Kumar, you have been following politics very closely. 10 seconds, Zakka. George Fernandes, he betrayed. Sharad Yadav, he betrayed. Former Union Minister of State for Railways, Digvijay Singh from Bihar, he betrayed. Jaya Jaitley, who played a formidable role in the formation of Samta Party, he betrayed. So he's a track record. We are not surprised at all, but the people of Bihar, the people of country and a section of opposition who are seeing hope in him. This hope is highly, highly misplaced. Mr. Nitish Kumar said similar things in 2014, but what was the result of 2014?
The question is about the credibility of Nitish Kumar. He may have prime ministerial ambition is not a crime in politics. But the point is, how seriously will the people of India take him? This is a gentleman who has had alliance with you twice in the past now. He has shifted 5 times in the last 10 years. Why should the people of India take such a person who's done U-turn after U-turn seriously? Leave alone a credible challenger to Mr. Modi in 2024.
Mr. Zakka, look who's talking about principle and ethics. BJP has no face now to talk about principle and ethics. The way they go around buying MLAs and breaking legislative party. You see the case in Maharashtra or any other states, how they have done in other states also. And you spoke about brand Modi. Mr. Zakka, brand Modi is at the lowest at the moment. Be it in terms of unemployment, price rise, Agnipath, it's endless. You know, the agitation against the present ruling government and the state of affairs that they have done in parliament. So the point here is that when they do it, when they do a phone call and try to break the party, then it's fair. Everything is fair in love and politics or whatever they say it. But when the other person does it back to them, becomes a turncoat, it tricks them. You see, BJP...
No, but Dr. Mehrotra, can I ask you one question? You are saying Mr. Brand Modi is at its lowest. Just recently, 3 months ago, BJP won 4 out of 5 states that went to polls. I mean, in the last 2 years, BJP has won Bihar. In 2021, it won Assam. In 2022, of course, the big one was Uttar Pradesh. If Brand Modi's credibility is at its lowest, why does the BJP keep winning elections?
You will see that in 2024, Zakka, let the time come. There might be, they are winning states, no two ways about it. But look at the way they're using their regional parties. In a way, they have come with the concept of Bharat Mukt, whatever, Congress. That's what they say, right? So they use the shoulder of the regional parties to completely clean them off and then come into full power. So their gimmicks and their tactics were quite clear now.
Okay.
You see,
Mayank
they have a time-bound program.
Sinha, the problem is, आपकी लीडर के तो पर्सनल एम्बिशंस हो सकते हैं, वो प्रधानमंत्री बनना चाहते हैं, वो मैंने कहा एम्बिशन पॉलिटिक्स में तो कोई गुनाह नहीं है, लेकिन 2013-14 में भी उन्होंने एनडीए अलायंस इसीलिए तोड़ा कि उनको प्रधानमंत्री बनना था, उनको मिस्टर मोदी का लीडरशिप एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं था. आप मुझे बताइए 2020, 22, 24 में जब भी अगला चुनाव होगा, मिस्टर ब्रांड मोदी तो इतना बड़ा हो गया, सर्टनली 10 साल पहले से तो बड़ा ही हो गया, तो कैसे चैलेंजर रहेंगे? और दूसरी बात, ममता बनर्जी क्यों छोड़ेगी, केसीआर क्यों छोड़ेंगे, शरद पवार क्यों छोड़ेंगे, इससे सबसे ऊपर सोनिया गांधी और राहुल गांधी क्यों छोड़ेंगे? वो कांग्रेस पार्टी तो सबसे बड़ा ऑपोजिशन पार्टी है, आपके पार्टी से तो काफी सारा बड़ा है वो.
Yeah, I explain. Brand Modi, 52 rallies in 2015. How much seat won in the Bihar? 56. It is Brand Modi. It is Brand Modi. It is brand.
Okay, I think there's a...
It is brand. Clever Modi, not Brand Modi. How to make fool in the state or the country. He knows very well. Okay? No Brand Modi. Brand is our people of the country. Brand is not Modi. First, I cleared to you. Second, our chief minister today said any kind of statement regarding for that I am the contender of the PM. In 2014, he's anywhere said in the public domain or the social media or any media channels, I am the contending I am contender of any PM post.
नहीं, इस स्टेटमेंट का मतलब तो समझाइए ना कि 14 में जो लोग आए थे 24 में होंगे नहीं होंगे, उसका क्या मतलब है?
नहीं,
what does that mean?
No, I will explain to you. In 2020 election, in general elections, we are fighting with grand alliance in the state of Bihar. JDU, BJP. How much seat won in the 2020, you know? In 2019, sorry. In 2020, he creating a disturbance alliance like Chirag Paswan. He planted Chirag Paswan there to create disturbance in the JDU. Why he filled only the JDU
constituency where the JDU
अरे
candidates
मयंक
are
सिन्हा साहब,
going
ये
to
तो
fight.
2 साल पुरानी बात है। 2020 में हुई, जो भी आप कह रहे हैं चिराग मॉडल, उसके बाद उसके पार्टी तो टूट गई। उसके पास तो ना पार्टी है, ना सिंबल है, ना कुछ है। 2 साल बाद आप उठ के बोल रहे हैं कि चिराग मॉडल की वजह से हम सपोर्ट विड्रॉ कर रहे हैं। ये कैसी बात होगी?
Let me clear. In Arunachal Pradesh, our party won 7 MLAs. And our party give to support him, to support there. But JDU वहां भी हमें धोखा दिया, हमारे एमएलए को तोड़ने का काम किया, और आरसीपी सिंह के माध्यम से प्लांट करके ये अभी हमारे पार्टी को तोड़ना चाह रहे थे। दे आर क्रिएटिंग ऑपरेशन लोटस इन द स्टेट ऑफ बिहार, बट नीतीश कुमार इंजीनियर वो समझ चुके थे कि ऑपरेशन लोटस को यहाँ कामयाब।
मयंक सिन्हा, मैं एक आखिरी सवाल पूछ रहा हूं आपसे, आफ्टर विच आई हैव टू गो टू चंद्रचूड़ सिंह। आप कह रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन लोटस, एक विधायक का नाम दे दीजिए ना जिसके खिलाफ ऑपरेशन लोटस चला रहे थे भाजपा।
हमारे विधायक ईडी सीबीआई आईटी से नहीं घबराते हैं ना।
नहीं, आप ही ने तो कहा कि ऑपरेशन लोटस चल रहा था बिहार में। एक विधायक का नाम दे दीजिए जिसके खिलाफ ऑपरेशन लोटस चल रही थी।
नहीं, क्यों हम अपने विधायकों का नाम देंगे?
अरे
क्यों हम अपने विधायकों को पब्लिक डोमेन में डिस्क्लोज करेंगे?
तो
जिन्होंने तोड़ने का काम किया,
नहीं, जनता तो सुन रही है ना। आपने कहा कि ऑपरेशन लोटस चल रही थी बिहार में, तो बताइए किसके खिलाफ चल रही थी ऑपरेशन लोटस?
Earlier BJP senior leaders trying to stop the alliance, they made a phone calls to RJD MLAs कि 3-4 दिन बैठ जाओ, हम लोग कुछ कर लेंगे। 3-4 दिन चुप हो जाओ। Today our national president addressed all the media. Today the national president addressed the press conference today, and he is clear all these things.
Okay, Chandrachud Singh, it boils down to one thing, that Mr. Nitish Kumar, perhaps to protect his own turf in the state, has preempted what Mayank Sinha was calling as Operation Lotus, especially after what happened with Eknath Shinde and Uddhav Thackeray. He did not want to end up as another Uddhav Thackeray, therefore he has done this with one eye on the state. But what I'm not clear about is this national ambition. Today, Mr. Modi is far stronger and far bigger a political brand than he was in 2013-14 before he burst onto the national scene. If Nitish Kumar's personal ambitions could not best Mr. Modi in 2013-14, what hope does he have in 2024?
True. I mean, see, Zakka, Nitish Kumar has all the right to say that he would have a personal ambition, or he definitely has the right to keep or to have a personal ambition to be in the national politics. The point is simple. I mean, national politics, the way it operates and the way things have happened for so many years, the train that starts from Patna also has to cross Lucknow. So it's not that simple. If only Bihar was the state from where a success in Bihar would make somebody a PM, well, then so many PMs would have been there by now. The point is simple. I think the BJP and Nitish Kumar, or the future allies of the BJP, should keep certain things in mind, and that is why some lessons in political science is a must. See, whenever you have a coalition of sorts, coalitions are nothing else but for political expediency, to take care of the situations or of exigencies. So whenever you have such a coalition, when you have a minor and a major together, when you have a major and a minor together, the minor would get disproportionate benefits. But when you have a minor supported by a major, it will always lead to insecurities of the minor, and that is why a coordination committee of a sort is a must. Now, I'm not sure whether there was a formal committee or a coordination committee between the BJP and the JDU, or was it being done with some informal mechanisms? And if there were informal mechanisms, why did they not work out? So I think the lesson is very clear for people in future, and even for the newly formed the political arrangement that has been put in place in Patna, because this will all require the new formation to govern well, because the governance index in Bihar is slipping down, and it's slipping down very fast.
Okay.
So
let me go back to Guru Prakash Paswan. The BJP has a problem of perception that the BJP is just not able to retain its allies. It was Akali Dal in Punjab, then Shiv Sena in Maharashtra, and now JDU in Bihar. So across the northern Hindi heartland, as it were, BJP does not have any allies, so to speak. How are you going to deal with this perception problem, particularly going closer to 2024?
Zakka, that is a very interesting question, Zakka, but we must also realize one thing, that in the political lexicon of the country, the word Gadbandhan Dharm, it first came into existence during NDA 1. We don't treat Gadbandhan only as a political arrangement. We treat Gadbandhan as Dharm, Gadbandhan Dharm, as said by Bharat Ratna, former Prime Minister of India, late Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. There was a time in this country when push comes to shove, we had an alliance of 22 political parties.
Yes.
Unfortunately, now we are in a comfortable position, but if time comes, we can obviously have alliance. We have had alliances with ideologically polar opposite parties like PDP in Jammu and Kashmir. We have had alliances with different political parties. But you look at the status of these political parties who have deserted Bharatiya Janata Party only because of the sheer lust for power. What is happening with Prakash Singh Badal in Punjab? Irrelevant. What is happening with Uddhav Thackeray in Maharashtra? Irrelevant. What is happening with other political parties, those who have deserted Bharatiya Janata Party, they have become irrelevant. And the same fate is going to happen to Mr. Nitish Kumar as well, because only for his sheer lust of power, like it was clarified by one of our senior leaders this evening, that Mr. Nitish Kumar wanted to become the vice president of this country. Mr. Nitish Kumar only and only exclusively his politics, his entire permutations and combination is to how to clinch to power.
Mayank Sinha, इसका जवाब दे दीजिए. We have an interview with सुशील मोदी, जो बीजेपी के बड़े नेता हैं, डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर रह चुके हैं और नीतीश कुमार के काफी करीबी भी थे. Sushil Modi has said that Nitish Kumar wanted to be vice president. He conveyed that same message to the BJP leadership. BJP leadership did not agree. इसकी वजह से उन्होंने दोबारा पलटी की है. मयंक सिन्हा.
हम तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में है नहीं, बीजेपी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में, और राष्ट्रपति उपराष्ट्रपति का कैंडिडेट उन्हीं का होना चाहिए. जनता दल यूनाइटेड का कैंडिडेट तो नहीं होना चाहिए था. ना हमने कोई मांग की थी, ना हमने कहीं आके मीडिया डोमेन में बोला था. हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष आदरणीय ललन सिंह जी ने उसी दिन, जिस दिन मीडिया में चला था, आके बयान दिए थे कि राष्ट्रपति और उपराष्ट्रपति के कैंडिडेट नहीं है. पहली बात.
नहीं तो क्या सुशील मोदी जी क्या झूठ बोल रहे हैं? नहीं, मैं सीधा सवाल पूछ रहा हूं ना. सुशील मोदी क्या झूठ बोल रहे हैं कि नीतीश कुमार की आग्रह थी कि वो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट बने?
ही इज टोटली लाइंग, सफेद झूठ. मैं आपको एक बहुत पुराना वाक्य बता देता हूँ, एक न्यूज चैनल में पहले भी बताया था कि सुशील मोदी उस समय अपोजिशन में थे और आरजेडी सरकार में थी
जी, और
सरकार चला रही थी. तो पटना में एक इंसिडेंट हुआ था. सुशील मोदी गमछा बांधकर बताए कि पटना पुलिस ने मुझे बहुत मारा है, मेरे को 7 स्टिच लगा है. लालू जी बोले कि जाओ उसका गमछा उतार के देखो. तो गमछा जब उतारा गया तो कोई स्टिच नहीं था, एक लाल रंग का पट्टी लगा के उसके ऊपर पेस्ट कर लिए थे.
Okay. Anyway, I don't want the debate to get derailed. I want to go back to Chandrachud Singh and give him the final word. Chandrachud Singh, the question is that this is a political gamble, perhaps Nitish Kumar's last political gamble, last roll of the dice, as it were. There have been unsuccessful gambles also in the past. In 2015, he joined hands with the MGB. He won the election, but of course, the coalition did not last more than 2 years. What is the guarantee that this time this might be successful? Because this is perhaps the biggest gamble that he has taken.
Well, that is why it's the biggest gamble, because it comes towards the fag or at least the nearing years of his political career. By 2000, the next Lok Sabha election in 2024, he would turn 74 or 73 at least.
Yes.
So therefore, there's no guarantee for anything for that matter in politics, Zakka. But the larger question that perhaps everybody should think about, and that is about coalition. Remember, if coalitions are about dharma, then every dharma also has certain rituals. Remember, Atal Bihari Vajpayee's coalition also had the convenership of George Fernandez. So coalitions would require not require major parties to ensure or to see that the regional parties are no longer relevant. I mean, that's not a good statement to make. See, where are they? They are irrelevant.
Okay.
No party can become irrelevant, and in political democracy, particularly multi-ethnic, multi-plural democracy.
Whether Nitish will continue to be relevant politically post-2024 or in the run-up to 2024, he has taken a big gamble with this move. We'll wait and see how it plays out. For the moment, I want to thank Guru Prakash Paswan, Mayank Sinha, and of course, Chandrachud Singh for joining us. But talking about political upheaval and political developments, it's not just Bihar. In Karnataka now, after the Congress called the incumbent Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai a puppet Chief Minister, and this huge speculation in the air about possible change of leadership in the Karnataka BJP. Now former Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has come out and batted fully in favor of Basuraj Bommai. He has refuted rumours of any kind of leadership change in Karnataka. He says just 7 to 8 months are left for elections. There will not be any change in Chief Minister phase. That's what B.S. Yediyurappa has come out and publicly said today. Basuraj Bommai will continue to be the Chief Minister. Let's play out that soundbite of Yediyurappa and then I'll go across to Ritu.
ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಸತ್ಯಾಂಶ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನು ಕೇವಲ 7-8 ತಿಂಗಳಿರುವಂಥ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಬಸವರಾಜ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿ ಅವರು ಮುಂದುವರಿತಾರೆ. ಅನಗತ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಟಿವಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ. ಇದನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರಲ್ಲೂ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾರೊಬ್ಬರು ಆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದರ ಅಗತ್ಯನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ.
To my colleague Ritu, where is this coming from? Because obviously when Mr. Yediyurappa was replaced with Mr. Bommai, the feeling was Mr. Bommai is a stand-in for B.S. Yediyurappa. Now, in this atmosphere of speculation that Mr. Bommai could get changed because the central leadership is reportedly not happy with his stewardship of Karnataka, is B.S. Yediyurappa's comment, his soundbite, now the final stamp on this, that after the tallest BJP leader in Karnataka having come out and unambiguously supported Mr. Bommai, it would be difficult for the central leadership to effect a change?
Yes, no, but well, referring to all the political developments here in the Karnataka, you see the Congress party, in fact, in the series of tweets, had in fact called the CM Basuraj Bommai a puppet CM as well. Now, with all this, you see BJP party taking a jibe at the Congress party and has said that this is unnecessarily, they are in fact racking the unnecessarily an issue against this all, and which is not even required, is what the BJP party has to say. But after all, you see now the top leader from the BJP party, that's the in fact, the BSY himself now clearly stating that there won't be any changes in the CM phase. And it is that the upcoming assembly polls as well will be going under his leadership only. That's the Basuraj Bommai himself. Now, with all this, you see the BJP leaders also taking jibe at the Congress party and saying that it is not with the BJP party, but in fact, it's the Congress party who's trying to cover up all the rifts within them and are coming up with the unnecessary comments, in fact.
Okay,
so that
Ritu,
is
we'll
what
leave it at that. I'm completely out of time.
Thank
you very much to my colleague Ritu there. We'll see. So there seems to be infighting at the top, both in the BJP and the Congress in the run-up to Karnataka's elections next year. That's a wrap. In a moment, Anusha will join you with the biggest exclusive.